This is the sweet sound of success with Sue Wilhite, Profit Attraction Master. Geo Ropert is the founder and president of Ropert and Partners Public Relations and Marketing Communications. His firm excels in helping its clients achieve their business and financial goals by creating customized communication programs that build trusted relationships between the brand and its audiences that include customers, employees, vendors, shareholders, and the general public. Geo is a nationally accredited, award-winning public relations and marketing professional with a diverse background and over 25 years experience in both the public and private sectors. He has personally worked with small and mid-sized businesses, regional and national nonprofit organizations, and authors, coaches, and speakers. He is a mentor and coach to entrepreneurs and small business owners across the U.S., providing public relations and marketing strategies that help them raise the visibility of their brands and build strong relationships with customers. A native of Michigan, Geo currently resides in Melbourne, Florida, and considers the Space Coast, home to NASA's Kennedy Space Center, the greatest place in the world to live, work, and play.
That's right.
Welcome, Geo. Thank you so much for being on my show.
Hi, Sue. It's wonderful to be here. I appreciate you asking me, and hope I do you right today.
Well, I think so. It's definitely an honor to have you. So, as you know, but some of my viewers may not, this show is structured around and is loosely subtitled The Entrepreneur's Hero's Journey. And so we are going to talk about, Geo, your ordinary beginning, which no entrepreneur is ordinary, your call to action, what brought you into being an entrepreneur, the challenges, the big hairy monsters, the dragons, the hairy things that you needed to go up against and conquer or overcome on your hero's journey. And the things that I find some of the most important are about allies, mentors, guides, Gandalf, whoever might be helping you along the journey, because none of us can do it by ourselves. And then finally, in Joseph Campbell's world, he calls it coming home again, where the hero has gone through many adventures, and he in this case, you, are different than some of the rest that have not been on this hero's journey. So how do you deal with that, and how do you cope with the when are you going to get a real job sorts of things that happen? So, Geo, tell me about your ordinary beginning.
Ordinary beginning was at a very, very young age. So whenever entrepreneurs are supposed to start, I think I got a leg up on them. My first was at the age of 6 during the summers, right after, I guess it was first grade. Every Monday was trash day in my cul-de-sac. And I had about 35 houses on this block. And every Monday morning, the trash men would come. Now, these were the days when these were metal cans and metal lids. So I'm kind of dating myself. But yeah, there was no plastic back then. We had to lift those things by ourselves and carry them. So after they would empty the cans, I would follow them around and put the lids back on the garbage cans. And at the end of that route, I got paid 25 cents. And back then, 25 cents was nothing to sneeze at, especially for a little kid.
Right.
And it was then that I realized the value of money and making it on my own and earning. So it went from that to lemonade stands as I got a little bit older, getting very involved in anything that had to do with marketing, whether that be school events. I was very involved in student council and just anywhere I could put myself to be around people and to help others out. And and that led to, just a variety of opportunities. I've had a job literally since I was 6 years old. I don't think there was ever a time I was not making my own money.
Wow. That's a pretty long history.
Yeah.
So your call to action was essentially, hey, I could do this and they'll pay me for it.
Yeah. I mean, you do something, people give you money for it.
Right?
And, understanding that concept as you grow, it's and not only, you can provide a service and get rewarded for it via payment, but you're also doing a good thing. I mean, if I think back on it, that took I would say that took probably 10 minutes, if you would, out of those guys' day,
Right.
that they didn't have to bend over a second time and put a lid on a trash can.
Right.
And when you're doing that for a living, I'm assuming that kind of gets old. So having
Right.
somebody there to help, made their job a little easier.
And they got to help a kid.
They got to help the kid. And if they knew what that did and where I'm at today, I would hope they'd be pretty proud.
I would think so. So, Geo, talk about some of the challenges that you ran into when you were doing all this, because, just the desire to be of service and be rewarded for it, there's a tremendous high that comes from that.
Right.
But you kind of have to, as I call it, battle the big hairy monsters.
Oh, yeah.
In order to get that high. So what were some of the things that you got to deal with?
Oh my goodness. It's, more failures than successes, I think. And that's with any entrepreneur, anybody who is, determined to go their own way. I started several different businesses, including a retail golf store. And that was my first foray into the real business, doing consulting and that kind of thing. Wasn't even yet in the picture. But this retail golf store came around. It was an opportunity that after I'd left working for a cruise line for several years was there. And I said, well, how hard can that be? Sell golf equipment. Everybody loves golf. I love golf. We'll sell golf equipment, give golf lessons, book golf vacations, and do all of that. And it was a wonderful thought until it actually had to be put into motion. And then realizing, that you're up against the competition of the larger golf stores that could sell all the equipment. We were just a real small little shop. We kind of did our own thing. And then realized that, you had to market, you had to advertise, you had to really rely on a steady stream of business. And unfortunately, during that time was also one of the worst fires we've had in Florida in many, many years, and basically shut down the industry. Folks that were coming from Canada, we have a big Canadian influx of visitors. They didn't come down because of the fires. The golf industry, basically, the courses were closed. And so we had to take a whole season of that. And as a startup, that was kind of the last thing you needed. So we tried to recover. And it just, it didn't work out. I learned another valuable lesson: always own 51% if you're going to have a business, or know going in what your minority stake includes and doesn't include. And then also never trust people with the checkbook that should not be trusted.
Yeah, but sometimes that one's hard.
Yeah, it is. But when you come home from vacation and all of a sudden your bank account's cleaned out because somebody felt that they were owed money, it made for difficult. So it was one of my challenges. But at the same time, I had opportunities to become a consultant a couple of different times, and I did that. Had some good luck with it. Some didn't, it was kind of a weird thing. I would do my own thing, and then somebody would hire me as an employee. Then I go back and do my own thing, and somebody hired me again as an employee because the opportunity was there. Well, you have to think about it. Okay, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm struggling to make business happen, and somebody comes to you with a near six-figure job offer, plus vacation and health insurance, and promise of a steady job for as long as you want it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be a little better for a while. And then, you know what? The entrepreneur comes back out, and
Right.
it can only do it for so long. And that just back of your head's just gnawing at you to go and do it again.
Right.
And so 5 years ago, I finally cut the cord. I said, never again will I work for somebody else. and I will become, I will become the boss. And so far that's wonderful because I work for somebody else all the time. Now I have clients. I work for them.
Right, right. But you still get to be somewhat more in charge.
Yes, you do. You're controlling your own destiny. You get the clients, you don't. You get the business, or you don't. You make the decisions to do things, or you don't. And every decision has a cost to it. And so, you have to weigh those. And so I think it does. It's been a great learning lesson for me. I feel I've come so far as a person at this time and through all of this. And I wouldn't turn a minute of it away. I wouldn't change a thing in all that's happened, because everything that's happened has happened for a reason, and it's built on itself.
Exactly. Joseph Campbell actually talks about that when you get to, you get to a certain age and you look back and you go, wow, that just seems like every single step that I took was somehow guided, and there was no other way that it could have worked out, because if I hadn't taken that step, this over here couldn't have happened. And you never would have thought they were connected.
No, never.
Right? And yet it's the way that it works out. So sometimes some of our, what I call our deepest learnings, like coming home from vacation and finding out that the checkbook has been pillaged, turn into something that's an incredible asset.
Oh yeah.
Down the line.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So when things like that happen, did you have any allies, any mentors, any guides, anybody that was helping you through any of that?
Yeah, I think back, I've always had somebody who was there, who was in my corner, who wanted to help. Unfortunately, I wasn't one that took help easily. And not because I didn't want it or thought I knew everything. It was just, I didn't feel like I wanted to bother other people with my problems. Okay. I'm thinking, they've got enough things going on. Why would they want to hear from me and my piddly little things that are going on that really don't matter to them? Why would they even want to hear it or help? And not realizing that most everybody wants to help. I want to help. I want to help my clients. I want to help people who don't understand public relations and marketing to understand it. And they were wanting to be there. They were wanting to help. And it came to fruition I was the second year into this business. And I had gone through some really, some good, strong starts, a lot of word of mouth business. I didn't have to market, things were kind of coming in, but they weren't coming in great. I wasn't getting those high-end clients. I was dealing in the small, the smaller realms. And so I was having to do a lot of work for a little money to make it all pay off. And it was just getting very frustrating. And then losing a couple of those smaller clients, and not having the pipeline filled. I didn't need to market. I had enough business coming in that I was not thinking about that. Well, right. First rule of business is market. It's like I'm the PR marketing guy. It says the cobbler has no shoes, and so I was at a conference and I was like really at the bottom. I said, guys, I just have had this messed up year. I didn't use that. I used a far sterner term. And yes. At a luncheon of a bunch of entrepreneurs and friends of mine, and they looked and they said, you are an incredible person and you've got such a great spirit and you're so, you're wonderful, but you have this negative aura around you right now. You can tell that you're not playing in the game. You're not here. What is wrong? And so I just told them, I said, here's what's going on. And they all really rallied around me. And one of my good friends, Hugh Ballou, the gentleman, he's a wonder of the world, if you will. Former maestro, has conducted symphonies around the world. He's also a pastor and he's very involved in his church. And he's also very much a leadership coach. And he's trained huge companies and executives, and he's just the most wonderful person. And we had a conversation after the conference, and he really kind of was able to hear me out and understand. And so he gave me 3 books. He said, I want you to read these 3 books and do this. One was The Science of Getting Rich. Think and Grow Rich,
Oh yeah.
and then You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor. So,
Yeah.
and this was the Waddles did the first book, and then
Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill, and then Bob Proctor. But all of these, had the word rich in it. And it was rich not in the money sense, because as you read through these books, you become to understand what the law of attraction is, which I know you're very big on and have a good understanding of. And then of also understanding that you make things happen, that you are the grind of what makes a product. And so you have to be responsible for it. But you also have to build a group, a mastermind, if you will. You need the friends, you need the colleagues, and all these things. And so, Hugh kind of got me right in that mindset again. And it took some time. I'll tell you what, start and stop. But we're into 5 years now. So as a small business, when you make it 5 years, you pretty much kind of beat a lot of odds of failure that are just staring you down, waiting for you. They're waiting for you to go, I told you.
Right.
Business now, and that's always the space I wanted to play in. I wanted to have partners. I wanted to have people working on projects. I didn't want to do it all myself. I wanted to have this family, this partnership of people and professionals that I could work with to make great things happen for clients. And now it is. And so thanks to all those people who have just stuck by me, that there's so many, they always say too many to mention, but every one of them, whether they know it or not, had incredible impact on my life.
Yeah. So your ally, Lou Ballou, helped you realize the value of allies by giving you books that reinforce the concept of allies.
Exactly.
And mentors.
You can't do it alone, Geo. Get it through your head. You think you can, but you can't. And, so it really has. And it's just, I think probably in the last 8 months, even with COVID, even with all the stuff that's going on right now, you would think that we would be at the bottom. And actually for me, business is booming because businesses need to remember that they've got to have a voice. They've got to stay vocal. They've got to stay out and about and visible during, especially during tough times. Yes. And so, helping, and I tell my clients, the last thing you want to do is stop marketing or stop communicating with your clients and your audiences. As soon as you do that, you're dead in the water. And those that listen are doing okay. And those that don't, I wish you well.
Slowly sliding into the sunset, as it were.
Unfortunately, yeah. They may not completely go away, but they will have much harder time recovering. Right. And it's proven businesses that continue to market during a crisis or during an event, one of socio or economic change, and continue have a better recovery even after the event. So, stay with it now. It'll be much easier as time goes on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Geo, one of the things, you've got allies, you've got the circle, and yet I am absolutely sure that there are people who think having your own business, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner is nuts, is crazy, is just, why would you ever do that? I know that I hear this relatively frequently. I mean, they accepted that I'm going to do this, but I hear it a lot from my family. It's like, what are you thinking? Why don't you work for somebody else? Right. So how do you deal with that question?
Well, the ones that ask that question have, and not saying good, bad, or indifferent, they don't have the entrepreneurial drive. Or they do, and they're just too scared to even talk about it. They don't even see themselves as much as they could dream, not having to work for that boss. But honestly, I have not had a lot of folks who said, what do you think you're doing? I've said that more to myself. I can negative talk myself right into the hole of just look down and there is nothing but black. Right. Right. The abyss is there. But it's I've had people who say, well, yeah, when I was leaving the jobs, there was like, don't you want to stay? I mean, you've got it so well, you're there. And, a couple times it was like, well, I can't go anywhere else, within the organization. A couple times it wasn't my choice. It was we had a real, bad downturn in 07, 08.
Right.
That recession took away a lot of the opportunity for the company or the business I was working for. So those things happen. But I do remember it was like back in that time when I was having a really tough time. I was talking to my mom, and I love her to death, but she says, "Why are you doing this? You could go get a job. Can't you get a real job?"
Yes.
A real job. I love that. She goes, and I said, so Mom, what do you think I can go do other than this? Because this is pretty much, I can run a business, I can do PR, I can do marketing. That's it. I'm kind of resolved to an executive level position. She goes, well, you could work at Domino's.
No.
Oh yeah. She, her mindset, and again, love her to death, but it was just, you can get a job, to pay the bills, so you don't have to worry about things. And I was, it was one of those impetus right there to just succeed. It's like,
right.
Oh, I'm going down this way. You think I'm going to put that one of those, I respect people who work at any level. I will never bemoan somebody who has a job. You have a job, you matter, and you are doing something. But it's just, what job could I do? She said, well, why couldn't you go back to school and get your degree? I could teach the class.
Right.
That's what I do. I learned on my own, and I'm one of those people who's lucky enough to be able to do that as a self-learner. So those are the things, the challenges. People just look at you. I think a lot of people in secret, whether they talk it right or say it right or don't say it at all, they admire and they envy entrepreneurs. Yes. They don't know what it takes. They don't know the hours that we work, the angst and what we go through, what I've shared, the down to your last dollar sometimes. Where am I going to get business? Is my business going to succeed? Up at night because you can't sleep. They don't get that part, but they secretly do wish they could be part of it.
Right, because they want to be in control of their destiny.
Yeah, and everybody should. Yes. Even if you're working for somebody else, you can still control your destiny. Yes. Your job does not define who you are. You know, you life outside that, and that's you've got to work to live and not live to work.
Exactly.
Make it happen.
And get it that no matter what it is that you're doing, you are helping somehow.
Yes.
No matter what it is you're doing, whether you're throwing dough at Domino's or you're scratching out numbers as an accountant in whatever version of accounting you might be doing, you are helping in some way, shape, or form. Right. And ultimately that gets back to the customer that the company is providing a product or service for. Right. And that's what it all comes down to, right? Is providing that product or service that the customer wants or needs. And providing that is the goal. That's the deal. It's like, hey, here's this need that I can help you with. And oh wow, you want to put some energy back into that? Yes.
Exactly. Well, and it's true. Whatever role you're playing, you are helping somebody else out. Whether your role is on an assembly line, you're helping the next guy be able to do his job. Exactly. You're helping a customer to have their first car.
Yes.
If you think about it in those terms, instead of, I'm just here, putting on a screw or putting on this or taking care of that one menial piece. Look at it as part of the whole, as part of what that end product is going to do with somebody. That's why I created Ropert and Partners. I wanted to work with people who share my mindset of that servant leadership, but know that if we work together, if I can call a marketing firm and a web company and a graphic artist, and I can pull writers and all these people into a project, wow, isn't that great? Because not only am I helping the client get exactly what they need to achieve their goals, but I'm also giving other people who sometimes are even, other PR firms. I don't care. If you're better and you can do something well, I want you part of that team for that client. And that's going to help everybody else out. Everybody makes money, everybody succeeds, everybody's happy in the end. To me, that's what being in business is all about.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. It is, to me, it's like, well, if I can invite a graphics designer to do what they adore doing, because I don't.
Right. Yeah. My horses look like stick figures. My stick figures look like stick figures.
Yeah. I'm not even sure stick figures describes what I do. But not only am I giving joy to the client or customer for what they're getting, I'm also giving joy to the people who are helping create this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
All about collaboration. Competition's dead. It's
right.
You talk to anybody, and right now competition is a killer. It causes nothing but stress and anxiety, and somebody wins and somebody loses. And here, when you're collaborating, everybody wins. Everybody's working together. There's that shared sense of responsibility. There's that shared sense of human to human working with each other. Yeah. Sharing emotions and feelings and ideas. And again, I'm not the smartest guy when it comes to this. I believe me, and learned that long ago. But I did learn that I also need to hire the very best and work with the very best, because those are the people that are going to be the ones who help you become better at what you do. And my job right now is to grow a business and to allow other people to come in and be a part of it, and to help as many businesses and organizations as I can become as successful as they want to be.
Beautiful. Yeah, there's mic drop.
Exactly. There you go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be doing 2 shows till Saturday.
So tell me, Geo, what is your favorite part? I know we talked a lot just now about things that you liked about your job. What is your absolute favorite part about your business?
It's the storytelling. Mm-hmm. By virtue of what public relations is, we are storytellers. It's our job to come up with a great storyline and be able to tell it to the audiences in a way that's going to connect the business or organization with them. And so, it's looking at the organization or the business and finding their unique touch points, the things that are unique about their products or services, their culture, their people, and being able to find those things, bring them out, and then tell that to other people who need to know it. One of the biggest things that we forget is that everything is built on a relationship. They call it public relations for a reason. You are relating to the public. You are forming relationships with the public. And when we say the public, that can be your customers or clients. That can be your employees. That's your vendors and contractors, your shareholders, if you're a publicly owned business, and the community in which you work. All of those people are your audiences. All of those people need to know and trust you. And what we do that's what we do. We build knowledge and trust. And you have to have those 2 things if you want to succeed in business, because if your customers, if the people you interact with don't know you and don't trust you, they're not going to do business with you. Right. That's plain and simple. It doesn't get any easier to understand than that. And I always tell people, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much technology is used in looking at a proposal or evaluating a cost or a product or service. At the end of the day, somebody is going to still have to sign that contract, that agreement to say, I'm going to purchase your services for this amount of money, or I'm going to have a transaction. I'm going to go into that store. I'm going to buy that thing I want. But until that time, it's nothing. So a person has to end the transaction. And so until you realize that it's all people all the time, you can spin your wheels and wonder what's going on. But if you can build great relationships with your customers and your stakeholders, you've got a 99.9% chance of being successful.
Wonderful. Yes. And I think one other thing is that you have got to be in control of the story.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I won't name anybody, but there are people who I have a different story about. There are companies that I have a different story about, and I know them. Absolutely. Name recognition, no problem. Trust them, not, a million years. So they've lost control of their story because I have a different story than they do.
Right. Well, brand is what people say about you when your back is turned or you're not in the room. That's your brand. That's what people tell you, and they may not say it to you, but they will tell their friends. There's this is what's happening now. It's called citizen branding. Yes. The customer is in control of the brand. Right. They're going to tell you what their values are, what they want, and you had better be able to deliver it. And if you can't, somebody else will, and they will go find that company or that organization that will give them what they want. So, it used to be the company would come out and tell you how wonderful they were and drink this or take that or drive this. And, that's yes, okay, that's wonderful. No, not now. You better, whether it be sustainability, whether it be inclusivity, diversity, whatever, is going on that affects a community, a public, if you will, they're going to dictate how the businesses are going to be run. They're going to dictate your culture. They're going to dictate what kind of products you have, how you make them, how you distribute them, what kind of paper does it come in. I mean, literally. That's the control that the public has. And it's a beautiful thing. It's the way it should be, right? Because you have to earn business. You just don't get it.
And that's actually part of the hero's journey, right? Is filtering through all of that and coming out successful on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? And you can, you can either do it or you can't. And it's really, that's all your choice is. You're either going to do it or you're not. And if you do it and you do it right and you pay attention, you'll be rewarded. And if you don't, you may do it for a little while, but someone's going to figure you out and you will be dust faster than you can imagine.
And have a better story.
Yeah.
So thank you, Geo. Thank you. It has been an honor having you on the show. It has been a delightful interview. Thank you so much. And thank you, my viewers, my watchers, my listeners, for joining us on The Sweet Sound of Success. What are your dreams for your business? You know what drives me crazy? Really smart business owners denying their talents because they've been taught it has to be hard, because they've been taught that they don't deserve their gifts, that they're not worth anything. They've been taught that their gender means they can't express their genius. I'm Sue Wilhite, and I want you to have access to your genius. I want you to go out and rock the world with your genius. So I created the Call to Action Coaching Program. It's all about getting to the heart of you and what you've got to share with the world to make a profitable business that thrives and allows you to make a difference in the world. Click the link to sign up for the Call to Action Coaching Program today. Don't let your genius go unnoticed.